Ayo, what's poppin' YouTube? Welcome back to another video with your boy, and we locked in, we tapped in, and we fully fucking loaded. Today I have fire video. So as you probably already know, I dropped a freestyle video, and I'm gonna go into detail exactly step by step how I mix this in Ableton using Wave plugins, right? But don't worry, you can use these same plugins in FL Studio and still get a fire mix. You feel me? I'm gonna get into exactly what plugins that I use to achieve that effect, that crispy, perfect tone, punching through the fucking mix kind of, you know what I'm saying? Punching through the mix kind of vocal. And you guys are going to be able to use the same vocal mix setup and use that for your songs and your mixes and achieve that professional sounding vocal. So let's go ahead and hop right into this shit. Alright, we're going to hop into my Ableton. So for those of y'all that haven't heard it, I'm going to play a little snippet of it and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Straight freestyle too,
whoa,
like.
whoa. For a minute we can show. For a minute we can just go. For a minute we can just go slow. For a minute we can just go slow. I've been feeling your vibe and you know. I've been feeling your vibe and you know. I've been stuck in my feelings, but don't worry about that. Me and you, we gon' right back. Me and you, we gon' way back.
Alright, that's a little snippet of it. If you want to hear the full thing, go ahead and go jump to that video. That's gonna be linked below. But let's get into the vocal mix. Alright, so first and foremost, CLA2A classic plugin. If you want to be achieving that crispy vocal, compressed, polished sound, you start with this. I have the gain at 40. I have the peak reduction about 55, 55. I turn the analog off. They're not going to tell you this. Turn the analog off. That adds noise to your vocals. You don't want that. And this right here is another sauce that they're not telling you about using this plugin. This compresses the high frequencies. Okay? So you want to make sure that you're turning this knob up to tell the compressor capture the high frequency and compress it. My vocal has a lot of high frequencies in it, so I want to try to tame that and make sure it's not piercing through the ear. That's how you really get that polished sound. You capture the high end, make sure that it's compressed. You capture the low end and you make sure that's compressed. Alright, so depending on how high pitched or how you're singing, you want to make sure that you're turning it up and down to kind of fit your vocal need. You know what I'm saying? Next I have the F6 Waves EQ. This, I'm just using the basic preset vocal cleaner, and I'm just kind of basically listening to the vocal frequencies and figuring out which frequencies are not really the best for my voice, and I'm just turning them down a little bit and, you know, just cleaning up the vocal as the preset says. Very simple. You can just go in here, look for vocal cleaner, and you can kind of build off that. So that's what I did. Next, I use the Puig Tech. Excellent equalizer that adds color to your vocal. You want to make sure that you're intentionally doing things to your vocals. What do I mean by this? This plugin, it adds color, it EQs, and it adds a tone to your vocal. So knowing this, I gotta use it strategically. I love the tone and the color that comes off of this EQ, so I'm using it just for that. As soon as you put it on without even doing anything, you can already hear what the EQ and the tone is doing to your vocal. So I put this on, then I'm messing around with the EQ. I boost the 12K range, 3 dB, making sure that the bandwidth is high so that it's touching all of the frequencies, and I'm just boosting it a tad. I don't need to do much with this because, like I said, it's adding color and tone, and all I want to do is really boost up the high frequencies with this plugin. Next, I have Autotune. Of course, you can't go wrong with Autotune. I'm using Autotune Pro, and I'm using the retune speed 13. The key is in F minor, F sharp minor. Humanize is at 49, and the tracking is at 51. People always want to figure out like what exactly is going on with the tracking and the humanize. And humanize is basically doing what it says. If you want it to sound more human-like, you turn up the knob. If you want it to be closer to that more robotic, Autotune, T-Pain kind of sound, you turn it down. The tracking is how quickly the Autotune is latching on to your notes that you're singing. Is it more slippery? Is it more on key? Like, is it holding each note to make sure that you're in key? Big difference. If you don't know, I'll recommend reading the manuals on these plugins to kind of really get an idea of what it's doing to your vocals. These are really simple adjustments to what I'm doing to my vocals, but because I know exactly what they're doing, I'm gonna achieve the kind of effect that I'm going for. Feel me? So that's what the Autotune is doing. Next, I have the SSL Channel, another EQ, excellent EQ. It's a great analog EQ, basically filtering out some of the low end, boosting a little bit of the high end, another boost to the high end. Mid range, I'm doing a 3 dB boost here, a 3 dB boost at the 8K range. I'm sorry, not 8K, 800 kilohertz range, and I'm reducing the 200 hertz range in my vocal. That's where a lot of the muddiness and a lot of the raspy and all of that stuff lives. So when I'm reducing that, it allows my vocals to pierce through the mix, and that's what I'm going for on this track. So that's what I'm doing with the SSL channel. Next, I have the Kramer tape. This is more for tone and texture. I just have a standard preset on here. You can go to vocals and you can kind of figure out which one works for you. There's a deesser and all kinds of shit. I'm using it as a deesser here. Very simple. I didn't even touch anything on this. I just turn on the Kramer tape. It already adds color and tone to the vocals, so I don't need to do much. So whatever preset that I decide, I'm just gonna leave it and let it do its thing, because these plugins are built in to do things already, and you want to kind of utilize it for that specific reason, if that makes sense. Like, there are a bunch of built-in presets that kind of already know what it's doing, so if you can start with that and kind of, you know, incorporate what you're trying to achieve with your vocal using the plugin, you can accomplish what you're trying to do. Feel me? So that's what I'm doing with the Kramer tape. Follow up. This was kind of unorthodox. You don't usually see an ultra maximizer on the vocal, but I found that it really fits. Like, it fits as a great compressor. I was kind of comparing it to like the Arvox. It's pretty much similar. I just play around with the threshold and the ceiling to kind of like really compress and condense it to hold it in one place, so it's not too dynamic. Again, that's just what I'm trying to achieve with my vocal. Next, I have another deesser here, catching all of the S's and T's, because again, I'm boosting the higher frequencies in my vocals, so I want to make sure that it's not too harsh on the ear. I have the male S preset on here, male deesser preset. Start with that, listen to my vocal, and then I adjust the threshold accordingly. So it's not, you can't hear any of the S's or it's too harsh on the ear. You want to try to find that balance. You know what I'm saying? The key is really balanced to figuring out how to make your vocal pop with the mix. Following up the deesser, I have the CLA vocals to add the little sauce. You know what I'm saying? This is definitely sauce. Tap in, tap in, tap in. This is sauce. This CLA vocals right here, you could do a lot with. I use this on all of my presets. Whenever I'm recording, I have a CLA on there. Why? Because the reverb is super clean, the delay is super clean, and you can do a lot with the stereo, the spreader, and the wide. You can really do some really fun shit with that. So especially when you're freestyling, and like to hear those delays swirling and that reverb swirling in the ear kind of gives that creative juice that a lot of artists are looking for when they're recording. That shit is, it go hard. Sauce, tap in, tap in, tap in. I'm saying, so I have this on there. I have the large, for the reverb, I have the large set. For the delay, I have the quarter delays going. For the pitch, I have the wide. All right. So that's basically the bare foundation. Like, it's not that many plugins to achieve that effect. Ultimately, what you want to do is know what each of these individual plugins are doing, and really try to utilize it for its purpose and make your vocals pop. Like, that's what you want to do, right? Make your vocals pop. It only takes 4 or 5 plugins to really understand how to build a good vocal. And if it's recorded properly and the Autotune is right, the compression right, you already halfway there. Honest, like all of this extra, playing around with more compressors and more EQs, that's more like stylistic type shit. But the bare minimum is understanding your compression and your EQs, your deessers, and what it's doing to the mix. Once you really understand that, you can pretty much do anything with vocal mixing and achieving certain effects, and you know what I mean. But yeah, I get the gist. I'm not about to run you down with that. Yeah, that's basically the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to go watch the previous video. I might go ahead and drop this preset for y'all, Ableton and maybe FL Studio, so you guys can go ahead and download that at my store. I have a store now. Make sure to go check out the store. The link is in the description. Maybe I might even throw this in there and have one of you guys give it away for free or something. I don't know. I haven't decided. Depending how you guys are active in my comments and liking the video, I might go ahead and do that for y'all. Thank you for watching, and I see you in the next one.